Why is footwork in boxing often more important than punching power? Why could some fighters dominate their opponents without hitting hard? Why does movement decide life and career in the ring, while raw power sometimes fails? And why are there legends who made history with their feet alone? Footwork isn't just technique, it's survival, control, and intelligence in the ring. And there's one man who proved you can even win a round without landing a single punch. His name is at the top of this list. Top 1. Willie Pep. To this day, Willie Pep is considered the perfect example of how vital superior footwork can be in boxing. In an era where fighters often had more than 100 professional fights, Pep completed almost 300 fights against absolute world-class opponents. And he did so without much punching power. That's exactly why he needed legs that carried him, protected him, and brought him to safety at all times. Pep controlled distance like almost no other. He moved constantly, changed angles, made opponents punch at air, and disappeared from the danger zone at the right moment. His feet were his shield, his compass, and his weapon all at once. He could dominate entire rounds without standing still, without taking risks, and without taking unnecessary hits. The most famous story underlines his genius. Legend has it that Willie Pep once won an entire round without throwing a single punch, purely through movement, ring control, and perfect positioning. Whether myth or truth, it accurately describes what he stood for. Top 2. Muhammad Ali. When talking about footwork in boxing, there's no way around Muhammad Ali. His famous motto, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee," perfectly describes what made him so extraordinary in the ring. But Ali's footwork was far more than just a show or the well-known shuffle. In his younger years, he moved with a lightness rarely seen before in a heavyweight. Ali could move backward and counter at the same time, without ever losing his rhythm. His feet were constantly working, keeping him balanced and allowing him to attack instantly from any position. While other boxers lost effectiveness when retreating, Ali remained dangerous, precise, and unpredictable. It was precisely this combination of movement and timing that made him so unique. He didn't just dance around his opponents, he forced them to follow him, make mistakes, and waste energy. His footwork was poetry in motion, elegant yet deadly effective. Ali proved that even in the heavyweight division, intelligence and movement can triumph over raw power. Top 3. Vasyl Lomachenko. Vasyl Lomachenko is the modern embodiment of perfect footwork in boxing. It became clear early on that his movement was something special. He won world titles in 3 weight classes after only a few professional fights and claimed 2 Olympic gold medals. All of this would have been simply impossible without exceptional footwork. Lomachenko combines constant lateral movement with aggressive forward pressure. He always remains balanced, changes angles in a fraction of a second, and attacks from positions that are hardly predictable for his opponents. Often, it seems as if he suddenly disappears and then reappears sideways or behind his opponent the next moment. This illusion is created solely by his feet. His father even made him take a break from boxing in his younger years to take dance lessons. This decision paid off. Lomachenko moves like a chess player in the ring, always one step ahead, always ready to strike. His footwork is not only fast, but intelligent, precise, and constantly controlled. Top 4. Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson is called the greatest boxer of all time by many. But his status isn't based solely on punching technique or speed, but crucially on his footwork. Robinson moved in the ring with a natural elegance, almost as if to music. This lightness wasn't a coincidence. It was the foundation of his dominance. After his active career ended, Robinson regularly performed as a dancer. That explains a lot about his style. His feet flowed across the ring canvas, changing rhythm, tempo, and direction, without ever losing balance. He could attack, evade, and immediately return to a perfect position, ready for the next combination. To reach the pinnacle of boxing, one had to be exceptional in every category. Robinson had it all: timing, toughness, intelligence, and precisely this extraordinary footwork. Without it, his fluid style, his precision, and his control over the ring would never have been possible. His movement wasn't just beautiful to watch, it was effective, economical, and ruthlessly efficient. Top 5. Joe Louis. Joe Louis is often not immediately associated with exceptional footwork. Many people think of footwork as dancers in the ring, with fast, bouncy movements, but that's exactly where the misunderstanding lies. Footwork primarily means balance, control, and perfect positioning. And in that, Joe Louis was almost flawless. The Brown Bomber was one of the most balanced fighters boxing has ever seen. He never stood incorrectly, never lost balance, and was always exactly where he needed to be to land his short, explosive punches. His feet worked quietly, efficiently, and without unnecessary movement. Every step had a purpose. Louis's footwork allowed him to generate maximum punching power from minimal distance. He didn't have to evade like a lightweight because his positioning protected him. It was precisely this stability that made him so dangerous. He was always ready to punch instantly, without wasting time or realigning himself. His footwork was unspectacular, but absolutely perfect. And that's exactly why Joe Louis belongs on this list. Top 6. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather achieved something few boxers do. He fought at an absolute world-class level into old age. That was no coincidence and certainly not just talent. A crucial factor was his legs. Great defense almost always starts from the ground up with footwork, and that's where Mayweather was elite. His feet constantly kept him in perfect balance. He could control distances, avoid attacks, and land precise counters at the same moment. Mayweather didn't move frantically, but deliberately. Every step was calculated. Every small shift served to make the opponent swing at air. His footwork worked hand in hand with his defense. Opponents with hard punching power like Ricky Hatton were not only outboxed, but effectively set up. His legs positioned Mayweather exactly where his counters would have maximum effect. He was never open, never pinned down, and rarely surprised. That's why he remained fresh and successful. Mayweather's footwork wasn't a spectacle, but supreme efficiency. It made him one of the most defensively astute boxers in history. Top 7. Jersey. Joe Walcott. Jersey Joe Walcott is one of those names that many spectators underestimate when it comes to footwork. He didn't lightly skip through the ring like others, but that was precisely his genius. Walcott was a pioneer. His feet served not for escape, but for deception, misdirection, and setting up unexpected hits. He worked with changes of direction, hip rotations, and small pivoting movements that threw his opponents off. While the opponent's gaze followed a supposed step, the punch came from a completely different direction. His footwork was strategic, almost tricky, and extremely difficult for many opponents to read. Walcott became particularly famous for his ability to lull opponents into a full sense of security. He let them believe they had control, only to surprise them with a precise hit the next moment. His innovations even influenced later generations. Muhammad Ali himself adopted elements of these movements and developed them further. Jersey Joe Walcott proved that footwork doesn't always have to look fast to be effective. Sometimes it's enough to make the opponent think there's a step that isn't even there. Footwork decides not only victories but entire careers. These 7 names show that true greatness in boxing often begins where many don't look, with the feet. Some danced, some feinted, some stood perfectly, but all controlled the ring in their own way. And that's what separates legends from ordinary fighters. Which of these footwork styles impressed you the most? Is there a name you miss here? Write it in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of boxing, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay tuned. The next list is already waiting.